Alright guys, I'm doing a paint here on the leather. I do a lot of miniatures painting, so I'm using the acrylic paints that I got from there, and I've talked to a lot of people and they said don't worry about the resist, just lay down the watered down paint where you want to paint it, and then just keep over and building up layers. That way it won't crack when it bends and stuff. So that's what I'm going to try. I know on the scabbard I laid down Resolene and then I painted and then I laid down Resolene on the top to protect it. Well, I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to do like a lot of people have suggested and said, just paint and then do the Resolene after you're all done painting. So I'm going to do the black background, and then the MW is going to be done in a green. So that's what I asked the person, what color, what's their favorite color, and they said green. So their initials are going to be in green. So I'm going to do that. I've also figured out the location for that, for the rivet, and I've got everything all set up. I've gotten the end rounded. So right now we're going to do some painting. And this is my Resolene brush. I'm going to try keeping that separate. And then I cut down some brushes real quick so that I don't know how long they're going to be or anything like that. We'll find out. But I want to get some water in this tray. This brush doesn't seem to pick up a lot of water. But this way I got water in there, so I can water it down a little bit. Okay, that's actually kind of a lot of water now. So I'm going to do the black first. Now for miniatures, I'm pretty good at painting. I've done it for a long time, so just kind of want to get this brushed out a little bit. There's a lot of different aspects to the background, and there's a lot of bumps and crevices and stuff. So I'm going to try to paint and cut the paint where I need to, but I'm also going to come in and kind of blot too a little bit. Now I know why the water down, so it gets down into the crevices and stuff. That way it's more like a paint wash instead of an actual paint coat. Okay, yeah, that's covering in there pretty good, so. Now I'm going to leave a little bit between the letter and the paint because the antiquing is going to get down in there, so I'm not too worried about that. So that's how I'm doing this. And then I should have dabbed it off a little. It's a little thick there. But I'm going to go ahead, finish up with this black, and then I'll come back to you when I'm starting the green. Alright, I'm going to start with the green. Now, like I said, I've been painting a long time miniatures. I do a lot of the little miniatures wargaming and stuff like that. And I really like these apple barrels. But to be honest, the paint is all in your opinion. A lot of people will tell you, oh, don't use these because the pigment count per drop compared to like a Valio or a Citadel or anything like that. Use what works best for you. That I can't stress that enough. I've also painted competition for miniatures, and I've won several competitions right next to people that use paint that $5 a bottle. If it works for them, it works for them. This works for me. And I suggest you do the same thing in what's within your budget. These are perfect and they're within my budget. I like them. Some other people don't. But like I said, use what works best for you. That's why I use these ones. They're always great. They've always treated me great with miniatures. So now that I'm playing with leather and turning this into a hobby, I'm going to start using them on there because they've been so great with my miniatures. So I'm going to start with my green now. I got a brand new paintbrush. I've trimmed it up a little bit. I could trim it just a little bit better. In fact, I'm going to do that. Let me get a scissors and I'm going to trim this up more to how I like my brush. So I've already mixed up my green paint and I got it pretty watery actually. So I'm just going to come in and I want to paint the top layer. Because it's stamped, it's got a high part and then it's got the low part. It's got the low part right in here. In fact, I'm going to do this. It's got the low part right on the edges. So I want to paint the high part, keep the low part clean, and then on the black, I want to keep that black outline there. That way, when I come back and I do the resist, I'm going to resist where I painted, and where I haven't put paint, I'm just going to leave. So when I come back, I do the resist, I'm going to come back and do the antique gel, and you'll really get a good look at what antique gel does because of this. On my scabbard I used it, but it really didn't show the benefits of what a good antique gel does. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put this green on there, but like I said, I'm going to put it on the top. That way the antique gel gets around the outside. That way I've got 3 colors. I've learned with miniatures, never go any less than 3 colors on a miniature, because that 3 color system will always bring out a lot of detail. And I'm thinking that's going to be the same with the leather. It's going to bring out a lot of the detail from the stamping and stuff like that, which is what I want. I want this to look really high quality. So I'm going to go with what I know for miniatures painting and try to apply that here and do the 3 color system for that. And I'm thinking that's going to really make those letters stand out really good on that part. So I'm going to continue on. Let me take, this is pretty sharp, and I know my cats jump up here all the time to visit me and see what I'm doing. So like I said, I'm just applying to the very top of the letter. Almost kind of what's considered a technique called dry brushing. It's not a dry brush, but it's kind of like that technique right there. But I think that's really going to bring out those letters. Now when I asked the customer, like I'm getting paid for this. When I asked the person what their favorite colors were, they said green was their favorite color. And I know I said like I'm getting paid for this. I'm not trying to be snotty. I'm not charging the person because I'm learning. And once I feel confident that I'm putting out a high quality product, then I'll start charging, and I'll start charging cost. And then once I really get comfortable and I start really developing a customer base, then I'm going to charge and start looking at the fair market value around the area that I'm in and really starting to do my pricing on that. So basically right now, since I'm learning, this is the first time I've really gotten into doing painting a design like this. I know on the scabbard I did a little bit, but that was just red and it was a simple design. So I'm kind of still learning here. And this is actually, I'm really liking how this is turning out. I don't know from afar how well that green sticks out, but right here it's looking pretty good. I'm going to come back when I get all this painted up. I'm going to come back and retouch up areas and all that. And once I do that and I start putting down the antique, and for antique I use resin. But once I start doing that, I'll come back with the camera and show antiquing it. I have a specific brush I'm going to use for antiquing. I've never brushed on antique. Well, I did once, but I'm going to really do that because I just want to go over the painted area, have that antique. So I'll be back when I get done painting all the green and redoing the black and putting another coat of green on there.